And I think this is the point, right, Bronte? There is now that we know who the names are, there becomes this question about the credibility or the sources behind the allegations.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, with all these royal books, of course, the issue is that most of the insiders that are sharing information, and often they are top level, but they're unnamed sources. So we don't really have any way of verifying which claims are most likely to be accurate or where they sit or which camp they've come from. And before this book was even published, Omid Scobie was quite a well-known figure and quite divisive also following the release of Finding Freedom, his first book, which really told Harry and Meghan's story before they started telling it themselves. So a criticism that has followed him is that he is very sympathetic to their side, that he does, often it has been said that he provides just that side without a lot of balance. And so, again, when you're reading this book and you're looking at it from that perspective, you do have to take that in as a factor. And when we're talking about, this is the issue, we're talking about such big accusations that have lingered around for so long. We don't know where his source came from with this. He suggests in the book that he has, 8 to 10 people in the room when all these really important conversations happen. But I think this stems largely from a letter that was sent between Meghan and Charles, allegedly. So in that case, you have to imagine that there'd be significantly less people looking at it. So again, you wonder who the sources are. And this is the problem with royal books often. They're unnamed sources. We don't know where they've come from. It is very hard to pin down the accuracy of what we're reading.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, Louise, there was always going to be blowback on the Sussexes. What's been the reaction?
Well, the reaction almost is that the pair of them belong on Big Brother. I mean, they've been accused of having a very sort of low rent, bad strategy to publicity, not befitting a royal status or even someone who's left the firm in recent years as well. And, they had such a golden opportunity to build a royal court, as it were, in Hollywood itself, and they've just blown it up. They've blown it up with this insistence on attacking their family, ostracising their children from their cousins by virtue of that, and all the attacks on the family. So it's a very, very strange strategy, even though we're being told that Meghan's got new representation and, new people guiding her on what to do. But, they're almost like reality TV stars, and I don't say that in a favourable way at all.
And Louise, there are broader, obviously, consequences for the relationship with the rest of the family. There are a few barbs in Endgame for Queen Camilla, but query whether they'll actually stick the way they were intended to stick.
Well, absolutely. I mean, Camilla is Teflon. This is the queen of never complain, never explain, which I think really endeared her to the late Queen as well. But in the book, apparently Camilla rolls her eyes when someone mentions veganism or sort of gender identity issues. And there's other sort of comments she makes around, it wokedom, thinks it's, a load of rubbish, which that's not going to hurt her reputation. That's going to garner a whole new generation of fans who love her for her straightforward attitude as well. So I think, like I said, Camilla can't really put a foot wrong in this situation.
Absolutely. But Bronte, the more dramas that seem to engulf the Sussexes, the more it appears to isolate them from existing circles. Tell us about the society wedding they apparently weren't invited to.
Yeah, this is a big story that kind of came in the middle of this massive book storm that's happening this week, and it's quite sad. So the Duke of Westminster, who is a long-time childhood friend of both Harry and William's and is understood to be actually Archie, Harry's son, of course, his godfather, he's getting married next June. It's going to be the society wedding of the year. The King and Queen are expected to be there. Prince William and Kate are expected to be there. But it's understood that he and his fiancée and his family have decided not to invite Harry and Meghan, and that he'd actually wanted to, but he realised that things were just so strained between the family, they couldn't put the royals in a position that they may feel uncomfortable. So that's a really sad situation to be in. It really just, again, paints a picture of how far things have fallen for Harry and Meghan. This is one of his oldest friends, and he does just have a few key friends left, by many reports. So, yeah, the fact that he's now having to be excluded, because it would be so awkward. You can imagine for the bride and groom, it's a really tough situation. It's hard enough when you're not royal or famous or royal adjacent planning a wedding with all the guests. With this one, where are you seating everyone if Harry and Meghan are there? So, yeah, it's a really sad situation, but really does just highlight how far out of it now, how far out of the loop that Harry and Meghan are, but Harry especially.
And Louise, I've only got about 30 seconds left. Anything to add to that?
Well, to see his friendship group sort of, crumble like this must be heartbreaking for Harry as well, because although he's, launching broadsides at his own family, he's probably still hoping that his mates in the background will always choose him over his brother, but clearly that's not happening at all. He's being ostracised by his own friendship group, which is quite tragic because he obviously doesn't have any real friends probably in America. They're all with him or attracted to him because of the royal connection, but it's time for a bit of a rethink on who his mates are and maybe rebonding with his family, although that seems very unlikely at this point.